Like how if you took like thousands of fire alarms, you could have enough of like a specific like radioactive material to like theoretically make like a small bomb or something.
Oh yeah, because it's like in Breaking Bad in the first season, they take a bunch of like etch-a-sketches and they break them open to make thermite.
Yeah.
I think that's funny. I think we should try that.
Because buying actual thermite is apparently too hard. It's not, because I've literally seen thermite in my biology classes in high school. It's just more expensive.
Chemistry labs in high school, sorry, that shit's wild.
Yeah. There's not really any like.
There's no like restrictions. It's not like, oh, we're gonna like you just walk in. Oh, I'm in the chemistry class. Okay, let's make a bomb.
Yeah. All right, and we better finish this fast so that we can do the rest of it tomorrow. Which for like dissecting and stuff with like the worst. Yeah. But yeah, the Last of Us show brings a lot of mechanics into it, but also a lot of people pointed out the zombies are only in the show for the first episode, the second one almost non-existent in the third. The fourth episode is when they go to that city.
The fifth episode is the one where the zombies come in.
That one doesn't have any zombies either. So we're already 2 episodes with almost no zombies. Fifth one has zombies.
At the very end, though.
Yeah. What's the sixth one?
The sixth one doesn't have zombies because that's in Jackson Hole.
Yeah. So that one doesn't have zombies. Like, I'm trying to like count which ones.
Imagine making a zombie movie without zombies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it emphasizes that like it's humans that are the bad people, which a lot of the encounters in Last of Us are fighting people. But in terms of like so far, I would say that it's like about half and half. So it is weird that they didn't put more zombies in the zombie show, because like they were such a strong presence in the main draw of the show in the first place, to see if they could actually pull off the zombies.
I think they should make an episode following a zombie as the main character.
Yeah, man.
And the zombie's just like, it's a completely different like style. It's like mockumentary. They have like scenes where they're interviewing the zombie.
It's like just
it's like stanced up against like a wall. It's like,
I can't do the clicker noises, which that's not like it's like they didn't like find an animal to do that. The clickers, people just did that with their mouths. They didn't use any other effects, which is super weird because it's like so supernatural sounding.
I found this voice actor reel on Twitter of like, here's things that I do, and I was like, oh cool. Like I was just scrolling and like one of my friends had retweeted it or something. I was like, oh cool. Let me listen to this. Maybe they've got like cool like voice acting. Like maybe they do like badass characters or something. They do animals. They like make animal noises. And I was like listening to this, and they're just like,
yeah, it's super.
And I was like, what the hell, bro? Like, what the hell?
Or like, you watched Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the orc noises.
The ring. What are they called?
Oh, the
ring wraiths, right?
Well, yeah. What else? They've got another name. The Nazgûl.
Yeah, Nazgûl. Those are elk screams that they put echo effects on. Elk screams.
I hate elk. I hate. Why can animals scream?
They're like,
ugh.
Well, it's kind of like it's like a nasal thing. It's pretty much if you were to scream with your mouth closed is what elks. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. But they do that so they can like call each other from a long distance away, because they're herd animals. They have to be able to call each other. But like that's what a lot of like
she's a cell phone idiot.
Like a lot of Skinwalker stuff is like, you heard an animal in the woods and you thought it was an actual person. Like elk screams.
Yeah,
those are
what I was about to say. There's like some clips.
Those are very commonly like attributed, or like I mean, you've seen clips of cougars, like mountain lions, like screaming, right? And they sound like
That's what I was
human
literally
women.
about to look up. It's like
It's every
animals
time
scream like people.
or like foxes screaming. Here's Watch Mojo top 10 times animals screamed.
Oh my gosh, it is a top 10. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, like mountain lions. Yeah.
Yeah, wait, let's do this. Skinwalker scream.
Yeah. So the top, it's that one. That one,
The original right now.
it's like 45 seconds, like,
There's this fence right here that my friend's yard where we're at now, and from that, I don't know what you would call this, but there's a path right here with a bunch of trees. You can't really see them. I don't think you see that tree. You see that tree right there, the fern, right there. It's a fern, and then there's a bunch of other ferns.
That's a fern.
And it gets more dense as you go back. But what happens is this creature comes up against this fence, and it jumps this fence. And it was standing
I can't jump
right
the
in this
fence.
where I'm standing right now. My friend's inside right now. I'm getting this footage. And did you just fucking hear that? That was fucking it.
okay, now look up an elk scream.
Now we look up elk scream. Starscream, my favorite Decepticon. Listen, these elk sound terrifying, like Ringwraith.
That's from Lord of the Rings.
Wait. Don't run. The Lord of the Rings, Ringwraith, is...
That's an elk scream.
I think it's too high-pitched for the mic to pick up. That's terrifying.
Yeah. So
Sounds like when I started playing clarinet
yeah,
based.
checks out. But yeah, like The Last of Us, it's like the clickers are, that's all people. People make those noises, which is the worst ever.
Yeah, I hate people.
Like, yeah, but I don't know, the show, it was really good at capturing the same vibe as the game. Like the kind of desperation, like everything's like dirty and everything's run down and everything's been used by like 3 other people before you got it.
And I think that it's because the people who made the game are involved with the TV show.
I know that Neil Druckmann, which everyone hates because he's the guy that did Last of Us Part 2.
Neil Druckmann.
Like, he was like the main dude for Last of Us Part 2, if I understand right. He was co-directing the show. And obviously, video game fans need to realize that when you're adapting a work, you can't keep it exactly the same because there's flaws in every medium.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't make a video game into a movie. It just doesn't work that way.
So, like, some of the best movies that we have are book adaptations. But also some of the best movies we have are also just movies in the first place. So, like, I mean, what's a book that got turned into a movie that I've read?
Harry Potter.
Okay, Harry Potter. I did read Harry Potter. I mean, I finished it in 3rd grade, so it's a little foggy for me. The Harry Potter books are a lot more whiny, I would say, which the movies just tried to, like, cash in on the woe factor, I think.
Well, look at me, I'm a British wizard. Wiki 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 wah.
But
Abracadabra.
or like the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, I love the Hunger Games
Because
movies.
that's trending, and I watched those with Reagan.
Oh, because they're making a new one.
Oh yeah, the Ballad of Beetle and Bard or something. I
Yeah,
think that's a Harry Potter.
the Ballad of Beetles and Snake.
Yeah. Like, I remember reading the first book, and like it was an intensity thing. Like, that was just an intense book.
It was.
And the movie, like, worked with that, but they didn't say every single line from the book, because in the book, writers like to talk from an omnipotent third-person point of view. So you always know what this character's thinking, unless the author doesn't want you to know that. In the movie, it's
all Katniss.
movies suffer from, you can't like have your character be like, wow, I really like them. Like, you can't have like a voiceover every 5 seconds. You have to.
You're probably wondering how I got into this situation.
Yeah. So you have to like physically show that. So like in the Last of Us games, if they completely adapted that to the show, half the show would be Joel climbs ladder, Joel moves wooden plank across field, puts on building.
Which I will say, like, if I had played Last of Us and like they put a bunch of ladder climbing scenes in, like for like one of those scenes where they're like trying to get somewhere, I'd probably pop off.
Yeah.
But if it was the whole show, I'd be like, bro.
Although honestly, that's like the low point of The Last of Us. I don't really like 3D platformers. Have to be a really specific form of 3D platformer for me to like them. And Last of Us is kind of struggles with that a little bit. It kind of drags sometimes because I'm like, I literally could not care about moving this ladder.
I think that adding like 3D platformer and like puzzle aspects to just random video games is so weird.
Yeah, like the puzzle needs to work with the game. You can't have a puzzle just because.
Uh-huh.
Like, I know that's why people, like, why some people hate the Resident Evil series, because that game is, lots of those games, except for I don't know about the newer ones. But
Newer ones have, like, puzzles, but
like,
not
you think
really.
about Resident Evil 2 and 4, which I know a little bit more about than, like, the first one and some of the others. Those have the most, those have obnoxious puzzles, or, like, the Silent Hill games. Those are all random puzzles. Like, that's, like, the puzzle mini game, the game.
Yeah, it's puzzles with a jump scare in between.
Yeah. And like Zelda, I mean, I've seen gameplay of Breath of the Wild. I haven't played it. I've seen gameplay of it. I saw Germa stream it.
That's sick.
But like that in like a lot of Zelda games, Zelda puzzles are, we gave you this mechanic, do you remember how to use it? And can you use it in a scenario where you, like, a lot of Zelda puzzles are, can you use this thing we showed you in a way that we haven't explicitly, like in an example that you haven't actually used before. So like, that's why Hookshot in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time is such a crazy good weapon, but it never tells you that. And it never, when you get it, it doesn't tell you to do that. It just says it can grab onto places.
And items and enemies. And
yeah.
It can stun and also this and also that.
And that's how you do puzzles. In a game like Last of Us, where it's trying to be realistic in its medium, like in its world building, it makes sense that you'd be moving ladders around and stuff, but like, I don't know. It's, I wish that they would have incorporated different kind of puzzle-esque things. Because, like, everyone, like, no one wants to play a game where you just move ladders around, and you just do that, unless it's, like, that's the premise of the game.
Tell that to the Shoots and Ladders fan base.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, unless the premise of the game, because, like, Mario is a game where you walk from one end of the level, jump to the other, and there's not a lot in between. But that's the premise of the game. Whereas you have, like, Castlevania, like Symphony of the Night, where it's that idea, but then we made a pretty much a map so big it's an open world game.
And also, like, if you get this item, it unlocks this area.
Yeah.
If you do this, it does that.
Which is cool.
A Mario Metroidvania would be wild.
Yeah. You have to incorporate elements in a way that is not detrimental to the gameplay. You can't put in mechanics just because every other game has those, which is why Majora's Mask works so good and why a lot of stuff in Last of Us works so good. But that's also why a lot of stuff in Last of Us struggles, in my opinion. Like, the clickers, that's a really unique enemy that no other game had even thought of doing before. But then you have, right before you fight the clickers, you have to move 4 ladders to get up to the thing so you can conveniently drop down into an infested area.
Yeah, it's like the process to get to the cool stuff is just kind of super underwhelming.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to say all the time about Last of Us, even though I never played it, I just watched people play it, was I was like, this looks like it's just another PlayStation game, guys. Like, why are we celebrating this?
Yeah.
It looks like another, like, you know, OG God of War, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, like...
Yeah. I don't know. And Shadow of the Colossus, you could say the same thing, but Shadow of the Colossus rarely has puzzles where you interact with the environment. The puzzles are the bosses, and it's a boss rush.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And the Shadow of the Colossus wants you to break the mechanics of the game. Like, how you beat some of those bosses, or how I have, because I've gotten pretty far into like a hard playthrough before, but I've like tried to sit down and speedrun it, and you have to break how the physics work in the game to fully realize the game's potential. But even
Melee, it's Super Smash Bros. Melee.
But even the developers of Shadow of the Colossus knew that you could do this stuff, so then they made it so that there was room for the experimentation. When you move a ladder and it's the only ladder in the area and you can't move outside the area, there's no experimentation.
It's just, we need you to move the ladder from here to there.
Yeah, and that's
Sorry.
That's why
You're getting paid minimum wage for this.
Yeah. That's why people like Breath of the Wild so much, because it's
a sandbox.
It is a sandbox open world game. And
Did you see the gameplay for Tears of the Kingdom?
Where he built an actual functioning boat?
Yeah, like he just built, and like he like stuck a pitchfork on the end of a big stick to make a bigger stick.
Yeah. To make a what stick?
A bigger stick.
Uh-oh, bro. But yeah, I know we've sidetracked a lot with Last of Us, but the show was pretty good. It encapsulated a lot of the feelings you get from playing the game, especially the dread factor in some scenes. Like, you know, the episode where like all the zombies like rush out of the ground or whatever. Like, you know, earlier in that episode where they open up that door and they look in the room and the ground is like shifting around?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, no thanks. That is...
Gulp.
Yeah,
we'll tell everybody later.
Yeah, that's...
And the little baby zombie? Ugh.
Yeah. So, like, it makes me wonder if the zombies aged... If the clickers and stalkers and bloaters, if the physical body ages...
No, there's no way. Well, the physical body ages, but not in like a normal way. Like it ages like you're dead.
But that also shows the plot holes of every zombie, where it's like, why do these zombies want to eat people?
Because
they haven't. But if they just want to spread the virus, why are they stopping to eat people?
Because yummy.
Because we've seen these zombies.
Yummy.
We've seen the zombies like act for like weeks without eating or drinking or breathing. So, like, what powers the zombie other than the plot?
Yeah, they got zombie plot armor.
Yeah. But yeah. And, like, we mentioned episode 3, but episode 3 is probably the biggest, like, hater. Like, that's like the biggest turnoff for a lot of people.
Which is so dumb. It's so cringe of people.
Because it, like, a lot of people, even after saying some of the most homophobic stuff I've seen about a show in general, they'll just be like, well, first off, it didn't show Joel and Ellie, and everyone's saying it's supposed to be a world-building episode, but I didn't really see any world-building, because I didn't see new elements shown to me every 4 seconds, like a rat in a test lab.
They need Subway Surfers on the bottom of their screen.
Yeah, dude. Like,
in an episode of Family Guy.
Like, you can't take the MCU and Star Wars approach where everything important in the Star Wars movie is explicitly shown to you. Sometimes for the worst of the or retconned.
Dude, but you hear they're trying to remake the sequel trilogy?
That isn't that
because people didn't like the first try.
That could be its own episode where I rant about how much Star Wars is cool with its concepts, but there's some things that I hate watching about them that I just like ruin the entire universe for me, and it's mostly retcon.
I miss Starkiller when he was canon. I love The Force Unleashed
Yeah,
so much.
like why would you have to, like how obnoxious do you have to be over your own, like the product you just bought because Disney bought Lucasfilms?
Yeah.
How obnoxious do you have to be to, like, say half of the media? Because Star Wars are not just the movies. You have the books, you have the games, you have the encyclopedias, you have
Yeah, the Legos.
yeah, the Lego. It's like you took all of that other than the movies and even some of the movies, and you said, "No, it didn't happen."
Yeah, what about the Christmas special?
Yeah, like I'm like, dude, what? Why? It makes no sense to me.
It was a weird phase for Disney when they were like buying stuff and saying, this is real, this isn't. And then they ended up changing their mind on like most of it in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that could also, the Star Wars episode where I get mad about Star Wars and the MCU episode.
Hey,
That could
man,
be its own thing.
Star Wars Day is coming up. We could do a May 4th special.
Or we can record the May 4th episode and just put it out on May 4th.
But I haven't watched the new Mandalorian.
Oh, me neither.
There's Bad Batch. I don't know. I think that's a Clone Wars sequel.
But I don't think you have to watch all those new shows to realize the problems with the movies and stuff in the first place.
That's
which
fair.
the shows just kind of carry out more. But again, that's for a different episode. This is The Last of Us and The Last of Us branching off episode.
Yeah, so speaking of The Last of Us, mushrooms, have you ever done them?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people be like, do you think if you ate the mushrooms off clickers, you would get infected? Because it's like
Like put them on a pizza?
Is that like actual infected stuff, or is that like just mushrooms?
Are they poisonous or are they venomous?
Yeah, like, do you have to boil them for a bit until they're okay?
Like if I put it on a pizza, yummy.
Yummy.
I get some cheese, I get some tomato sauce. The cheese is of course lactose free.
Another thing about the show, I hate Ellie. I said that in like
Just the
last
character in
episode.
general?
I hate Ellie as a character. I just, like, it's the most like Neanderthal emotional character in the world, and I'm talking about The Last of Us Part 2 as well.
I haven't done... I think Last of Us 2 got a lot of hate just because it, you know,
Killed Joel.
killed Joel off.
Joel went golfing.
But, but like, I think that Ellie gives me the same vibes as Skylar White from Breaking Bad. Have you ever watched Breaking Bad? I can't remember.
No, I know everyone hates Skylar White for some reason.
Well, most people hate Skylar White because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. Like, it is a very, like, just, oh, all of these characters who are doing evil things are great because they're men, and Skylar White is a woman and trying to be normal, so she's evil. But I don't like Skylar White because she's kind of just a douche.
Yeah.
And, like, emotionally, like, chaotic.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing with Ellie. But also, I think that, like, if I grew up in a zombie world, I'd probably be Ellie-pilled.
Yeah. Although, Ellie-pilled. Although Ellie in the first game, she is a lot more mature and isn't nearly as annoying as the show counterpart, and that's not because of the actor. Because I know a lot of people were whining because the actor is
Bella Ramsey. I don't know if
Because,
that's their name.
yeah, it's Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, Bella
Because-
Ramsey. Ooh.
Because she's non-binary, but she also doesn't care what pronouns you use for her.
Oh, interesting.
Which is because I want to be like, yeah.
I was
she's
about to say she's non-binary, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's what my dad does. My dad will be like, "Oh yeah, like she's a they," and I'd be like, "Well then they are a they," and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's what I meant." Oh.
Yeah. Well, when it's like a transition thing, that makes it's easy to screw up something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, dude. When I was at ASU, I had a bunch of friends. It's like the difference between Arizona State University and Idaho Falls, right? It's like, oh shit, people are like, people like have like quirks here instead
Yeah.
of just being like copy paste
I like guns and Trump.
Religious and white and conservative, right? There's like I'm like gone from that to like a mixing pot of just everything all at once. And I have friends and their pronouns on their thing was like they, she. And I was like, which one? Like a year ago, I'm like genuine. I was just like, which one is it? And so I asked, I was like, I'm not being insensitive. I'm not trying to be mean or weird about it. I just want to make sure before I like call you something wrong. Like, what does this mean?
I used to remember what it was, but now I feel bad because I don't remember what like the she, they, and he, they. That just means like.
I think it just means either or.
It's a they, isn't it? It's a they, them, but they mostly are male or female.
Yeah, so right? The one that comes first, so like my one friend is they, she, and so they prefer they, but they won't get mad if they're she, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know. I don't want to sound like totally insensitive because I've met people, been friends with people who are like, are like she, they, he, she, or transgender. You know how crazy it is in Idaho Falls to have a friend or let alone know someone who is transgender?
Yeah, Idaho Falls, that just doesn't exist, basically.
I knew one person who ended up, I just ended up not talking to him anymore, but we would talk at work and that's about it. But, like, he was formerly a woman, but yeah. And like, I think he even had surgery.
I knew someone like that, at high school before I went to IF when I was at Compass. And that's like the only introduction I had to that, and it was straight out of like I went to a school called American Heritage, right? Like this massive like conservative red pill, like and I go straight to like a tech school full of like the furries and the gays and the babes and all that, right?
See, if we just had like an Alex Jones AI say that, we would just sound like nut job. Furries and the gays.
The furries and the gays and they're all there and they're all walking around without their shoes on. No. I think that my favorite part about ASU was probably the LGBTQ homies. Yeah. Because they're just like a very nice like refreshment compared to just basically everything here.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that like if you're not straight, it doesn't mean you like are cooler than straight people. I feel like there's some people where they think that, and I'm like, dude, just because you're different doesn't mean you're better. I mean, like you can have like a Volkswagen car, or you can have a Chevy car or a Honda, although some people will argue and say this car brand sucks, but at the end of the day they're all cars, right?
Yeah,
so it wouldn't matter if you're like a he, him, a she, her, or a they, them. You're still a human, so you have to
I think that's the difference between like, because me and you were just like, yeah, people are people, duh, and then you've got the two like extremes where it's like, I hate gay people, blah blah blah, and then the other side where it's like, I only support the gay people because there's no such thing as being an ally if you're actually straight, which is crazy to me, but Or
like did you ever see that one video where it was the chick and she said, if you're gonna hang out with your friends, you have to let them know
that you're bringing the white guy. Friend. Yeah. Like, because they might not be prepared.
Yeah, like we don't want like. I don't know. I've seen videos, and I think it's like it's so bizarre because there's videos of people that aren't white, and they talk about like where they're like, dude, I've seen so much racism towards white people. I'm not playing the victim here. I'm not trying to say that we're oppressed.
Absolutely.
I'm just stating that it's like it's weird how people don't think that racism and sexism and homophobia, they don't get that it can go both ways, and that's why, like, Last of Us Part 2 and, like, Last of Us as well. That's why people just, like, had such big issues with it, because you have these dudes that, like, aren't completely in tune with their sexuality, and they're afraid that, they watch episode 3, and they, like, are afraid they're gonna like it or something.
Oh, no, oh, they're showing gay people and my PP got hard.
So it was Last of Us is an HBO series. I was fully expecting to see an actual sex scene, full nudity, or something like that, and I was so worried in episode 3 that was going to happen, and that's why people hated it so much. I was worried that was going to happen, and then I watched it, and it's the best episode in the series.
Yeah, they do. People do hype it up like there's like it's a full gay sex scene. Like,
no, they're shirtless in a bed. It is implied that they're,
like, I think it's just romantic.
It's a romantic thing, but like,
not like this sultry, like, oh yeah.
And I get why people are like, some people are saying, well, if it was a straight couple, you wouldn't have minded. I would have minded. I don't care if
oh yeah,
if
I'm
Bill
not
straight,
a huge fan of watching anybody have sex on my TV show that I'm not expecting.
Yeah, or I don't know. I'm not really Lots of robot shows have just sexualization. I don't want boobs in my robot show. I want robots.
Why does my Gundam have boobs?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted the cool robots.
No,
that people. I didn't watch Euphoria because Euphoria had sex in it. Not because there were gay or straight sex, but because I didn't want to watch teenagers in high school, in quotation marks, because that's just what they're acting like, right?
Yeah.
Have disgusting, weird, druggy sex. Like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
And I think it goes the same way for the episode of Last of Us. Like, if they had sex, I'd be like, oh.
Then I would have actual issues with the episode.
Because it's such a good and romantic episode, and then you're like, oh yeah, they have sex at the end, but they didn't. So
and
it wouldn't
be it wouldn't be bad because it was gay sex. I would still be equally as grossed out if it was normal sex, because isn't this supposed to be a zombie show?
It's like, come on guys, come on. This is not the XXX category.
Yeah. The Last of Us, starring
The Last of Us.
I was gonna say that. Oh yeah, but Euphoria.
This is a weird show. I did watch Euphoria actually. And I speed ran it though, so I watched it at like 3 times speed.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know if Reagan really listens to these, but I'm sorry in advance if she does. She really likes it. Nothing wrong with liking it. It's just another show. We watched some episodes, and I was like, okay, tell me when to close my eyes when something gross or weird happens on screen. If there's nudity on screen, tell me to close my eyes, because I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
My eyes were closed for like half of these episodes. I only watched like 2 or 3. And I'm like, dude, I don't care about these characters enough. Like, I don't know. I don't get emotionally attached to characters unless it's like a rare circumstance. Which is why people get so butthurt over Joel and Ellie, and no one really cared about Bill. Bill is cool in the game. I think he's funny because he's such a nut job. Bill in the game is he's like schizophrenic, like nut job kind of guy. Like you'll see notes everywhere in the game where it says, need to check this and this and this, need to recheck this gate, remember to write down bombs on the map. I mean, you can like look through, he doesn't have like one place or like one house like in the show. He like lives everywhere in this specific part of town, and pretty much the whole town is his territory, kind of. But it's, like, he doesn't live in one place, because he's so paranoid to just sit in one place. Which I get, but...
It's interesting. I think the biggest and most important part about any game adaptation being a good show or movie or book or anything is if the original creators are involved in some way. Because I think that's going to be the saving grace of the Mario movie, even though it's being made by Minions Grew Man. But like, because it's like Shaggy Miyamoto is there for the entire thing. He's like a producer, and so he's not going to let them have Mario fart and dance at the end of the movie.
Miyamoto is like notoriously
also kind of evil about story.
I think I don't see how people like Miyamoto. I think he's kind of a dick. From what I've read, he's not a very nice guy. Sue me, Nintendo. I don't care.
Nintendo sue me. No, I
Gladly.
think Shaggy Miyamoto is the creator of Mario. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about this dude's, like, he won a contest or something. He won like a contest, and then he got to work on this. He like got to work with Nintendo, and then like almost as a side project, they made Mario. Like that was not their main thing because they were making trading cards and games and the love detector
Which is in Fire Emblem.
Yeah, yeah. Like they had no, like he walked in with zero experience, and he's experienced now because he had to help design that and he had to like learn it. But like, I mean, you've heard of what's it called, Zelda? You know that?
Oh, the crossbow training?
Not crossbow training. It was a Zelda game that was supposed to be reminiscent of kind of Tekken a little bit. I forgot what it was called, like Zelda Ultra or something like that.
Zelda Tekken.
No, it was supposed to be like a different version of Link, and he was a fighter, and it was like really rudimentary graphics that were made for it, and then they like scrapped it all. Let me pull it up. I'll find it.
Wait. Because I know there's a lot of cut Zelda content.
Yeah. Cancelled Zelda games.
Because I know that like Link's crossbow training was supposed to be a sequel
yeah,
too.
Wind Waker was supposed to get one. Twilight Princess was supposed to get one. Four Swords. A Sheik spinoff. Oh, this is the one.
A Sheik spinoff would be sick.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a version of. Oh, I remember this. It was supposed to be Link, but he wasn't gonna be this like green, like the protagonist version of Link. He was supposed to be a lot like a completely different take on him, and then he got like, and then it like got shut down immediately because Miyamoto was like, no, I don't like it. I don't want it. Not Hughes. No one's talking about it. Yeah, they're calling it Legend of Zelda Sheik, but I remember it was a different name that we had, and it was like it had like a really specific name, and they were like, there's not a lot known about it. They just know that there was Ura Zelda. This is the
Zelda?
one. It had graphics that kind of looked like Star Fox 60, like the Star Fox graphics. Or I'm not talking about the 64 one. I misspoke. Like original, like the kind of
Oh, like on the NES where it was like the weird polygon.
It was supposed to look like that, like but on SNES, I think. But it got canceled, even though they had built models for it. But also Miyamoto and his like the team of Nintendo lawyers have like made it so that is like trying to get some information about canceled Nintendo games is harder than like breaking into the Pentagon.
Yeah, dude. Well, because like Zelda Tactics or whatever by Retro was like leaked late last year, and the like 3-hour documentary about it was like nuked off of YouTube, and like the guy who made it like got C&D and all that stuff.
Yeah.
C&D's nuts.
Yeah, which is no, it's bonkers to me. I don't really like Miyamoto that much. You hear about a lot of these canceled Nintendo games, and it's because he just didn't want it, and then he comes up with the Wii U. Like, dude, come on, man.
The Wii U could have been great. I also think that the Wii U games that don't use the gamepad are kind of like sick.
Yeah, like I mean, Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game.
Mm-hmm.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U edition.
Yeah, the Smash Bros on it. Like there was a lot of good stuff on the Wii U roster-wise. It's just Nintendo. I don't know if it was Miyamoto, but because of how much Miyamoto has a say over stuff, it's so much what he wants, and I think he's really pushing the gimmicky stuff. The Switch has been a very successful console, but that game is the console itself is like equivalent to an Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most powerful console.
Like, I mean, I've said this before, but like, in Nintendo, I don't think will ever do it. Nintendo could go the Sega route, and they could just become a company that owns the characters and can lease them, not like lease them, but like
just have their games on everything.
have their games on other things, because I mean, they're making money because people will pay $300 to get a Switch and then pay full price games. But you could still have the dumb full price Nintendo games, but on consoles that people already have, and you could potentially be making more off of that, because now you're not limiting your access.
I do wonder, because I know people who have bought Switches just to play like a Breath of the Wild or Mario Kart, and I wonder if the $300 purchase plus the game versus more people being able to buy the game because they're not buying an extra console, I wonder which one actually is more profitable.
So like, I mean, you have, like, the whole thing is like, you have Steam. Steam has like this game and this game and this game, but like what's happening is you have PlayStation exclusives that are coming to like PC through Steam. You can buy Last of Us on Steam right now.
Yeah.
Guess what's getting really popular along with the show is Last of Us on PC.
Yeah, because people want to play it, and people don't have
play it, and they
the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One. Well, actually, it's a Sony thing.
Yeah. But like, go figure that these games that are universally acclaimed and are awesome are like doing really well on these alternate things. Although Nintendo also, you don't really hear a lot of like, you don't ever hear Nintendo games getting like Game of the Year awards for anything, because they're kind of limited by having to buy their console, which is extremely gimmicky and underpowered.
Breath of the Wild got Game of the Year, I believe.
Did it? What about like Mario Odyssey though?
Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild came out the same year, which I think is why.
Yeah.
And then Smash Ultimate got Fighting Game of the Year, but it couldn't get Game of the Year. I think it was a runner-up to Sekiro.
Sekiro won Game of the Year 2019.
No, okay, then Smash came out before that.
Elden Ring got Game of the Year 2022.
Here, wait, let's look at a list. I'm curious now. I'm curious now.
And it can't be some website's Game of the Year. It has to be the Game of the Year.
Game Awards. Game of the Year's year list. The Game Award for Game of the Year.
I think did Dark Souls 3 get Game of the Year?
Winners. So, Dragon Age Inquisition won in 2014. Witcher 3 won in 2015.
Okay.
Breath of the Wild in 2017.
Oh.
God of War in 2018.
Makes sense.
Sekiro in 2019, and Elden Ring in 2022. Nice. And then Last of Us Part 2 was 2020, and It Takes Two was 2021.
Yeah, and you notice how most of those are not Nintendo games. I'm just saying, I feel like they could make a lot more money. Well, like, okay, Sega, like, they fell out of power, so then Sega couldn't make another console, period.
They're never coming back to consoles, yeah.
Because not only have they kind of died out with, like, respect to a lot of their stuff, but, like, it's not like they have a lot of exclusives that are still well-liked, other than Sonic and... I don't know, you had some cool games on the Dreamcast, like Fishman or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Seaman.
Yeah. Which is, that game is
and then, like,
creepy.
Crazy Taxi was, but not much of their games are, like, still out and about. But Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei games are Sega.
Yeah, and those are cash cows. Because, I don't know, they tap into the RGB. The
LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah. The RPG community, which is, I mean, RPGs are kind of becoming synonymous with these first-person games.
Yeah, like, I think I have... Wait. I think I have all three of the Personas on this console, yeah. Well, all three of the main ones. Nobody cares about 2 or 1, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of depressing because it's like you're limiting not only how much money you could make, but like you're limiting how much people like you as a company. Because it's like everyone knows that that Nintendo games are gonna like their consoles are gonna be super gimmicky. Well, I mean GameCube wasn't gimmicky, but the controller was.
now the GameCube controller is the perfect Nintendo controller.
Yeah, it's good for the game. It's good for the GameCube. It's a perfect controller for the system, but GameCube for a lot of other systems, like, I mean, you couldn't have a GameCube play like some PS4 games.
Oh, you totally could.
Well, I mean,
you
with
just
as
have
much
to. You
features
just have to
as
believe.
as
You
much
just have to
features as
believe.
PS4 has, or like PS5, like Ghost of Tsushima uses like specific movements on the center pad thing. Like that is insane to
That
me.
is. It does have like a touch screen. It did what the Wii U couldn't.
Or like the PS5 controller when the game is like playing something and the game like is doing like making noise with the controller.
Yeah, like the Wii remotes when you pick a character in Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Captain Falcon.
Like in Ghost of Tsushima, you could play your flute or whatever, which doesn't sound that cool. But not only do you use that pad to play it, if you put the controller on the table, the controller will vibrate. The vibrations sound like the song that is being played, as well as the speakers that are playing the song on the controller.
Oh,
So like,
the Switch controllers have a cool thing that does that, because in like they have, what is it called, HD Rumble.
yeah. So I know they have the Rumble, but it's like you trade off Rumble for Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, Joy-Cons are terrible controllers.
Yeah, or like where they're really small and stuff.
Terrible little guys.
I would have bought a Switch if the Switch had like one or two better features, but it's just like not only do I like not want to spend all of the money, it's just like I don't want to pay $60 for every game.
Yeah, Nintendo games basically never go on sale.
I'm a huge I didn't realize how much indie games I played until recently, because to me the ideal game is $20, $40. I've only paid $60. Like me myself, I've only paid $60 for one game ever. I didn't really like it that much. It was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is
the Borderlands game.
Had a lot of cool concepts. I hate Tiny Tina as a character. If you play Borderlands, you know that Tiny Tina is the worst unless you're like quirky.
I've never played Borderlands before.
Borderlands 2 is pretty. That's a really good story for a game, because it I mean Borderlands is a lot of outlandish, like I'm gonna say something really stupid, and that's like some of the humor in it. But Borderlands 2 is not completely. It doesn't rely on that obnoxious humor a lot. I mean, you have like these DLCs where you have a quest that's like blow up the ocean.
Hype.
But Borderlands, it's like it's a funny series, and it's like, I mean, it's like the first like one, not like the first loot and shoot, but it's probably one of the better. It like super capitalized that, where it's like guns are like not set. You can just get whatever gun you want, and every gun is unique.
Oh yeah.
You have like a shotgun that shoots razor blades that explodes. That like the razor blades explode. You have the guns that when you finish shooting them, you throw them, they explode, and then they reappear in your hand. Like that is crazy. I know that Netflix or whatever has been wanting to do a Borderlands series, but Borderlands just one. It's another thing of like the story is not strong enough to make a series about it. Last of Us is barely strong enough to make a series about it, in my opinion. Like the story is there. It's just, yeah.
I think Last of Us gets us, like, is getting this TV show and all that stuff just because everybody and their mom thinks Last of Us is like the God's gift to gaming for some reason.
Yeah, it's not. Like, I don't know. I'm not homophobic either, so I, actually,
Yeah, it's like
I have
it's
more
like
than one complaint.
my actual complaints, and I actually don't really have any complaints about the show. I just like
Yeah.
as a video game, Last of Us is not this revolutionary piece.
Yeah, it kind of drags a lot. It's hard for me. I can't really sit down and just keep playing it because it's like it's one really intense, but it just gets kind of it just can be draining to play, and you don't really want to play a game that is draining to play. You want to play a game that's like fun.
Yeah, you want to enjoy your
Or
time.
You want to have a game that's fun, or you want a game that's an experience. So like Shadow of the Colossus, it's a fun game, but it's an experience game. That would be a really interesting like manga or like anime, because I don't think a live action Shadow of the Colossus would do good at all,
I
nor would
agree
it
with
be
that.
good.
It would be bad.
But a Shadow of the Colossus like anime or cartoon or something, that would be good. I mean, I haven't watched the Cyberpunk show, but I've heard really good
Oh,
things
yeah,
about
people
the Cyberpunk
love the
show.
Cyberpunk show, or like the League of Legends show,
Oh yeah,
Arcane. I couldn't even remember what it was called. I'm a fake fan.
fun fact, I can't name a single League of Legends character.
Jinx, because she's
Jinx?
the main character in Arcane. That's the only reason I know.
Is anyone named like Blitzcrank or something? I don't remember.
I feel like that sounds like a slur. Blitzcrank.
I know.
That's like an alien slur in like Star Wars.
Yeah, I think Overwatch could do okay with a story mode because, well, Blizzard has set up so many cool ideas for Overwatch, and because of all of the Blizzard stuff that's been happening, they haven't done anything with it.
Like story or
Like Sigma. Sigma should be the coolest character in the game because he's a dude who made an artificial black hole, went crazy, and he has space powers now. That's a cool character.
yeah, Gravity Frank.
Yeah, and like, I was even talking with my buddy, and I'm like, dude, I was like joking, and I'm like, if Blizzard won't make Sigma content, I will. And I just,
Creating the ultimate Sigma.
like, there's Overwatch comics, but they're kind of made so you can buy them. They're like packaged in with stuff, which is never a good sign. But I think a Sigma comic, that would be really cool, because then you can have this interesting story concept where like Sigma's crazy and he has like multiple personalities. So then you could have this comic book where it reads one way, and then you have the narrator is not reliable anymore.
Oh.
Like, I mean, you see that in like American Psycho.
Moon Knight and Deadpool and American Psycho have a disgusting baby, and his name is Gravity Frank.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I feel like Blizzard, their writers are good enough, or have been good enough before they left. The writers have been good enough where they could do some cool stuff. They just struggle so hard to do it. I mean, you hear about this Overwatch co-op, but I don't think the co-op mode in Overwatch is gonna be very good.
Oh yeah, they're doing that. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, there's like these skill trees things set up, but I honestly think they're gonna make five missions, maybe 2 specific maps for the missions, and that's it. And they're gonna do nothing else. I don't know. But that's just what I think. I just have lost hope in Blizzard.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't want to initially get into like Overwatch 2 like months ago, was because I was like, it's Blizzard. Or like I haven't played any of the new Diablo because I'm like,
Oh yeah, Diablo 4 is like releasing in July. I played the beta. That game is not ready yet. That needs some time in the oven, dude. It looked really rough, and it could be just so many people were streaming it and like getting on that the servers were lagging.
that could be it. That happens.
Like
on occasion.
it was rough, man. But a Diablo TV series would be really good, because it's this grimdark series, but then like it wouldn't like have the Walking Dead effect where you just kind of drag out some elements for like 4 seasons. Like Diablo and Like Diablo would do good as a TV series. Dark Souls conceptually would be a cool series.
I would love to see Dark Souls lore in the TV show.
Yeah, but FromSoft is, you know, FromSoft putting lore in their games, Nightmare Edition. Sekiro, funnily enough, is probably the most set in stone a story, but it still has that obnoxious, like, but we don't know for sure. Check in next time for us to never update you on it.
Oh, I follow this YouTuber. They're called what are the guys called in Dark Souls? Like the Fallen or the Undead?
The Watchmen.
I don't remember. He's called like an architect, I think, or like historian. Historian, that's the word. He's like a Dark Souls trigger word historian, and he just does like 30-minute videos on like Dark Souls and Elden Ring lore. It's great.
I know there's a dude who found, he's like Banti Vidya or something like that, and he does a ton of Souls and FromSoft games. He like super digs into that stuff, like how he found out how he found out, and like along with the rest of the fan base, and subsequently asked the devs about like the dragon you find in Sekiro, how it's a Korean dragon because it doesn't have a specific amount of fingers or something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
like that. Yeah. I don't know, a Sekiro show, that would be pretty good. Not because I like the game, but because the game has enough story elements that it actually could be really cool. Because, well, half of what makes this show cool is how cool the character is. I mean, that's why Mandalorian was.
Yeah, Mandalorian is cool
hit.
because it's the freaking Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's a space cowboy. Looks like a Spike Spiegel.
Yeah. Or like people like Naruto, because Naruto conceptually is a cool character.
Or
but everyone,
Goku.
Yeah. Although I can't get into Dragon Ball.
I love the idea of Dragon Ball, but I don't think I'll ever watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Power trip media is cool until it's not. It's cool to think about, and then it's hard to execute. Like One Punch Man, that's a good power trip media.
Yes.
Because it makes fun of itself. Doom Eternal is a good power trip media because they just made the gameplay good. The story's kind of throwaway for Doom Eternal, though. Who's playing Doom for the story? Not me.
The only one they fear is you. Okay, and?
Like, oh yeah, he's resurrected and he has god powers now. Now you can win internet points saying that he could beat Goku.
I wish Doom Guy was in Smash.
Yeah, instead of a Mii fighter costume, like Sans. I've been thinking about playing Undertale, but then I'm just like, the internet ruined Undertale for me. Like, I know Undertale is good enough to like, where it's better than its horrible fan base, but like, I don't know, I couldn't see like, every time I see Sans, I get like a hole in my chest. I'm like, oh.
I love Undertale, and the Undertale fan base on like its face value is like a very gross and toxic idea, but like me and Thomas went to that Undertale cafe in California as a joke, and like everybody I met there was super chill.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Thomas about that actually. He's like, yeah, there was some weird stuff, or stuff that was definitely not normal, like people in hooves.
Yeah, there was this chick who was like a deer.
Which, that's cool, but it's like, this is a video game, man. You don't just...
No, that was just like who they are as a human being. I think that looks like a furry, but not.
Oh.
I don't think it was a cosplay. Because I can't think of an Undertale character that, like, Toriel's a cow, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
No, she had the hooves like custom made for like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I asked her, I was like, you think they got those in like size 13 for a guy like me? And she was like, I don't know, I got them custom made. I was like, for real? She's like, no, I got them at my local GameStop.
But yeah. The Mario movie, I think it's gonna be. I think it's just gonna be bad, kind of no matter what. But it's gonna be how. It's gonna either be funny bad or just bad bad. Like Emoji Movie. Emoji Movie is bad bad, and it's not even funny.
No, Emoji Movie is really, 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 really bad.
I watched it, and it. Oh, dude. It's one of those movies where it's like, who okayed this? Like the doctor,
Not
like
God.
the Cat in the Hat live action movie. That is one of the worst movies
That
I've
movie
ever
is so
seen.
dumb.
It's not even. It's like not even funny. It's just horrible. I hated it so
It's
much.
terrifying.
It's just like uncomfortable to watch. I don't know. I've watched like Ava. Ava should be watched in like every philosophy class
Yeah.
because it's the gateway into philosophy. Look, a cool purple
It's a
robot
gateway
with a gun.
drug. No, they started watching Evangelion, and now they're a philosophy major.
Yeah.
They put pronouns in their bio after watching Evangelion.
She robot.
Get in the damn robot.
Ava theoretically could be a cool game. They made
The
An
Nintendo
N-
64
they made an
one,
N64
but it's
game.
just Japanese.
yeah.
I've thought about buying a Japanese Nintendo 64 just to try it.
Well, it can run on them US ones.
Nintendo 64s, all the old consoles are region locked,
Really?
like hardcore.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, so like I've got like 5 Japanese GameCubes because I've got a bunch of Japanese GameCube games, and I've got like 5 normal GameCubes.
Dang, dude.
Just because because I bought a Japanese GameCube thinking it'd be able to play normal games, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh.
That's really weird. Why would you? There's no reason to region lock it like that.
Yeah, I have no idea actually.
Nintendo like makes it so hard for themselves to like make sense.
Well, I think the Xbox and PlayStation's really region locked as well.
Well, you can change the language and region in the settings.
Yeah, but like the hardware itself.
Hardware itself.
At least up into the Xbox 360, because I know like the Wii U even is a region locked console. And like I'm pretty sure the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3
Yeah.
are as well.
But I don't know about PS4, but I doubt PS4 is region locked. I'm gonna look this up. But I don't
Like if you buy a Japanese PlayStation 4
super-
game, I doubt you can play it in your English PlayStation 4.
Is PS4 region locked? It's not region locked except for Chinese consoles because Chinese console, China is the definition of region lock.
Literally.
Wii U. I'm just gonna double check.
Because I know
They're
the Switch
region
isn't
locked.
region locked because I have some Japanese Switch games.
Huh. Yeah, Nintendo Switch isn't. Well, except for like specific DLCs. But yeah, it's a. Nintendo also has the weird thing where it's like, oh, we're gonna publish this for specifically our Japanese audience.
Yeah, they've got like Japanese specific games even in the Nintendo Switch Online.
Like Fire Emblem didn't even show up until in the US until it like was it Ike or Marth that
Well,
was in Melee?
Marth and Roy were in Melee, and
Roy was in
Marth was in it because he's the original Fire Emblem, and Roy was in it because Fire Emblem in America and Fire Emblem the Binding Blade. No, Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade. The Binding Blade. Fire Emblem the Binding Blade was coming out, and that's the game that Roy is in.
or like
And then the game after that, which is called Fire Emblem in America, but it's Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade in Japan, is the one that has Roy's father in it, Ellie and Lynn, and that's the first one in America. And then after that, you get like Sacred Stones, you get a remake of Marth's game, and then you get Ike's games on the GameCube and the Wii.
Or
No,
like-
on just the GameCube.
or like Ness.
Oh yeah, Mother 3.
Yeah. Or like how is it? Yeah, Mother 3 isn't that the one that will never ever be available in the States?
Yeah, I have a
For some
feeling
reason.
like I don't know why it was never made available in the United States because like the original Earthbound is not even the original. The second Earthbound is, and now Earthbound Beginnings is too.
Yeah, something about Nintendo just feels racist. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're fighting Piston Hondo right now.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna have countries from each nationality, you probably kind of want them to be
Like a
representative. But the thing is with fighting games is fighting games half the fun is how over the top they are. So when you have over the top but also mix region and culture, you get these like borderline racist like racist characters.
well, like in this game, you've got like Soda Popinski. He's Russian, and that's okay. And then you've got Great Tiger from India,
Eh.
and he teleports
Yeah, with his turban.
with his turban.
Thing. Yeah, I don't know about that. Street Fighter 2, that game doesn't seem really racist, I would say. You fight Dalsim and
I think Dalsim is the closest it can get to racism.
but even then it's not like he's like
It's not like racist at all,
He's
though,
like a
or
spe-
stereotypical.
yeah, he's like a specific monk that like knows how to bend their like limbs and shoot fire like
Yeah, yoga flame. Oh,